I confess, I totally feel almost like outside of my element, because when is the last time I featured a video that had only shonen manga? Hello friends, happy Wednesday, so very excited that you're here. I am collaborating with my wonderful friend Maeve at Maeve Ever Manga. I will leave her linked here in the corner to her channel, and I'll also leave her video to today's Top 5 Wednesday prompt down below. We are continuing to do our top 5 in each of the demographics, and today is shonen manga, and it was something else for preparing for this video because I quickly found out that I may have a lot of shonen manga thanks to Haikyuu. I don't actually have a lot of shonen series. Now, not saying I don't read shonen, because I do. I've read classics like Full Metal Alchemist. I've read newer releases like Bless and You and I Are Polar Opposites, but I realize that with many of these, I mean, I checked out Full Metal Alchemist from my library. I read it a few years ago and read it when I had no AC of all things, so it was a very memorable reading experience. I love the manga. And then with Bless and You and I Are Polar Opposites, both are amazing series. I decided to go digital with those due to increasing lack of space and trying to keep my monthly manga budget. And because of all these things, yeah, I just did not have that much manga, and it was just, I don't know, it was just something else to really think about, to be honest, because that means I just didn't have as many options. So I'm hopeful that all of these really are my top 5 shonen manga I did from my collection. I didn't do top 5 that I have read in the past, though it did cross my mind of doing like top 5 most impactful shonen volume 1s that I've ever read. But I'm like, it's been a hot minute since I've read some of those, so I'm just sticking with what I physically own because I'm like, they have to be in my top 5 for me to decide to keep these out of everything else that I have. But let's go ahead and dive in. We're gonna start with number 1. This is actually a digital manga. It's been a hot minute since I've read it, but I do have, I believe, a first impression video on this channel. I even dressed up for it, and that is Karate Heat, a sports manga series that unfortunately got axed way too soon, way too early. I have reread volumes 1 and 2 at least twice, but I've only read volume 3 once. And the reason I wanted to say this is because even though it's been so long, I just vividly remember loving this series so much. The main character, I think his name's Shinya, he is just your average, I think they're high schoolers or middle schoolers, but he's your average boy, and he just happens to have really quick reflexes. He comes across this other kid, his name is Takumi, and Takumi though is like this very famous karate champion. I think he's like, I think it was like 6-time award winning or something like that of winning these different big martial arts events. I was playing on the word of what I was trying to say, but he's a big winner. He's very, very good. I mean, we see in the manga explored that Takumi, that nobody has ever been able to keep up at his level. But then comes our main character here, Shinya, and here's this guy who has really good athlete in general, and he is keeping pace with who's going to be his new best friend. And that's what I really loved about the series. I really feel like it walked you through of how to sort of like learning karate. I mean, I would say in depth, but I did vividly remember that and really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed volume 2, but I was so crestfallen with volume 3 because it was so rushed, and you can just tell there was so much more that the creator wanted to write with these two young guys. And I so wish he had been given the opportunity, because they had a training camp in volume 3, and then it just sort of ends in a spot that I think was a good spot, but still, like, again, you just know there's so much more. So I know it's weird to mention for a digital manga, and not just a digital manga, but one that got axed early, but I still just, when I think of this series, I think of it with a very fondness and nostalgia, because it was one of the first digital shonen series I had read when I started getting into manga, and really, really enjoyed my time. And I think it was shortly after me and my husband had watched Haikyuu, and then we had binge watched Kuroko's Basketball afterwards. And so finding a shonen sports manga that was very similar to many of the themes and the aspects and the friendships that I loved in both those anime, I was like, this is something I can get behind, and I certainly did. I really, really enjoyed it. I haven't come back to it, but I would say as of right now, it is definitely in my top 5. For number 2, when it comes to series that I was like, I knew for certain certain that this would be mentioned in my top 5 because for all the digital manga that is available, especially when it comes to shonen specifically, I told myself that I would never cave and read ahead digitally, nor would I give up my physical volumes to read the series digitally. That is Kaiju number 8. This is one of the best shonen manga, ongoing shonen manga right now, and I feel like every single volume gets better than the last. There's so many times I've read this series and I'm like, I forget to breathe. I don't know how to breathe because there's so high stakes, and I just am always surprised how higher those stakes can get, how much more dangerous things can get for our characters. And in the latest volume, I know we have a new volume coming out next week or the week after, October 1st. I'm so excited that I was like, where is Kafka? This is the time we need a hero. And I just can't think of a moment where I was actively saying, we need a hero right now. I mean, even when I have like watched anime like My Hero Academia, even when I read Full Metal Alchemist and other shonen series that I've watched, because I tend to watch shonen more than read it. And even in those times, I just did not, I mean, yes, I felt the stakes and everything, but there's just something maybe that's just so hard-hitting about this series where you really get to know each and every character and you see the heart that they have and why they do what they do. And Ichikawa, which I didn't bring out that volume, I should have. He is best boy. I love Ichikawa in this series so much. He is so much fun. He is easily my favorite character in the series. Here we go. He's right here. I just love him. Hoshino would be number 2 for favorites because he is equally amazing. I don't know if he was in this film or not. But also Kikoro right here. She is incredible. The female characters, like, I really love how there is just no fan service. I think there's like just one scene in this volume where we see one of the ladies, we just know that she's taking a bath, but we don't see anything. I really feel like they are just done justice. They're not simply there just to be a plot device or for the sake of fan service. No, like in the latest volume with our girl here, we are seeing her backstory, we are seeing her motivations, we're seeing how she is growing as an individual, and I just feel like that is true for every single character. Like Kafka here, he is our main character. He is the center of the story, but he has a lot of things going on, and he's got his own battles that he has to face and stand up against, and as he's facing those battles and coming to terms with things, I feel like then we get to see what other people are doing and seeing their own battles that they are fighting as well. It is just a fantastic crew cast of characters where I've really, really enjoyed it just immensely every single volume. Like, I'm just consistently surprised how better it keeps getting. I checked out some of the anime, but unfortunately I've just been so bad with sticking with any anime that I didn't finish it, but I do feel like the action scenes really brought this manga to life. I still love the manga so much more. I love the character designs a lot more as well, but this is one that if you're looking for a new Shonen Jump series to get behind, I would highly suggest this one. I love it so much, and I just pre-ordered the latest volume just a few weeks ago. I think we're on volume 11, which, no, it doesn't have Ichikawa. I thought it was. It's Narumi. And if there's any character in this series that I have a little bit of beef with because of how he talks to Kafka, it would be him. We have a little bit of a love-hate relationship, you would say, as reader and character. He has his moments, and I really like him. And I'm like, but when you talk to Kafka, I'm like, you just hit a nerve for me, buddy. You just hit a nerve. But I like him, like the entire cast of characters, and this is just a series that I can't get enough of. And I told myself, no, I would not give up my physicals because I've really thought about, like, will you get something else? I'm like, I want this. I want this. I want to read this. I especially want to get the, was it Kaiju number 8 B-side that I think is Hoshina's story, and I'm very excited for that. We also have the light novel that's coming. I'm excited for all the Kaiju number 8 things that we're getting, and definitely will be devouring them all. Now for number 3, y'all are probably like, Laura, why didn't you say this number 1? And that is Haikyuu. I love Haikyuu. In fact, I was a little bit intimidated to film this video because Haikyuu genuinely has been the most life-changing manga for me. There is just nobody like my best boy Hinata. There's just no character ever that has come close to how much I love his character. In fact, when I watched the anime and then when I read the manga, I was like, this is my favorite character of all time. And that has just stood true ever since the day that I got into Haikyuu officially. There's so many times that I've just longed to meet him because of how he has just inspired me, how he has helped me draw closer to God, how he has encouraged my faith, encouraged me as just an individual. I love him so very much, and I just wish I could go to Japan and just meet him and just give him a hug and just tell him thank you so much for being you. I mean, obviously I would need to go to Sensei and thank him for writing this story and how impactful it is, because it's not just Hinata. There's been other scenes like Yamaguchi. Honestly, there's a scene with him when he's practicing and he takes his breath before he serves the ball. And honestly, when I get my flu shots, I think of him every single time because I hate needles. I'm pretty terrified of them, honestly. When I think of him, it helps me to take a deep breath. It helps me to relax and get my grounding underneath me. In fact, just last week when I was sort of having a lot of mental things that were going on, I just felt like my mental health was just sort of going up and down. And I was just like, I'm feeling very shambly with everything, with my emotions here. I was getting my kids ready for bed and I was just thinking of a scene with Hinata when he's in a certain match and it receives the ball and he yells out, "Let's take it easy." And I just started crying because maybe it doesn't make sense because I haven't shared the whole story. But when it came to remembering that scene for me personally, for my life, I felt so seen. And I was just like, I'm thankful that he said that because it was just a reminder to me to take it easy, to take a deep breath, to slow down and wait a minute. I know I have talked about Haikyuu and how it's impacted me in a few different videos, but the one I really do want to mention, I wouldn't say focus on, but how it has shaped me as an individual is this video here when I talked about it. I think it was in my 3rd year anniversary for my YouTube channel, and how there is a saying, there is a scene that happens in this manga that really shaped what this YouTube channel means to me and has reminded me as an individual to have fun in life. I mean, yes, you have to, there's hardships that come and everything, but the line specifically is that you need to build a playground. That has really just shaped me in such a huge way. And again, it's just not even the scenes that I've said here. There are plenty more, but I love this series so much. Maybe people are like, "Laura, you need to give up your shoujo card right now," but I really feel like the ending of this manga is the best ending I've ever read. I have reread it more than any time and more than any other manga in my collection when it just comes to the very ending, and I cry every single time. There's just something so touching in the way that Sensei really saw us readers and said, I'm gonna feed you. I'm gonna feed you in the best way. And he really did. He really did. It's just beautiful and it wraps up the series so well, and seeing the journey, not just of Hinata, but everybody. I mean, you get attached to everybody. There's nobody that you can hate in Haikyuu. It's a beautiful, wonderful series, and I could not recommend it enough. I have not sat down and reread it from cover to cover, and even though a friend of mine, my friend Michelle, is actually doing like a buddy read, and I feel bad because Mood Reader has been a huge problem, but I have wanted to come back and reread the series, and I definitely watch anime clips all the time, anytime. There's never a wrong time to dive into Haikyuu. Like ever. It is just the ultimate comfort manga, comfort anime for me because of the characters specifically. I love them. There is a reason when you look at my social media bio on any platform where I say Jesus, family, Haikyuu, because that is my heart in a nutshell, y'all. I mean, yes, I love and adore shoujo. That is what I read. I mean, I have shoujo all behind me, but this series, just nothing comes close to how much it fills me up as an individual. It fills me up and encourages me when it comes to a fictional story anyway. I love this manga, but yes, I will stop rambling. I love this series so incredibly much. It is ultimately my favorite shonen manga that I have ever read, ever devoured, and I really, even if I love a lot of other series, they will just never top my love for this series alone. For number 4, now I have said in my reviews, I think I've said on social media, if there was ever a shonen series that could compete for my love for these Haikyuu characters and give me a run for my money, so to speak, hands down, it would be Twisted Wonderland. I love the game, love the manga, love the characters, have plenty of favorites in this series, though the Shroud brothers, Idia and Ortho, those are my best boys. I really like them a lot. And then probably 3 and 4 would be Deuce and Jack, no certain order. Number 5, Jade. Jade was the first one that came to mind. But yeah, I love them. And I struggled with either to feature this manga here specifically, which wraps up the first book in the game, or if I should do the anthology, which recently just came. I read it, loved it. It was amazing. But these characters are so entertaining. That's not the word I want to use. So incredible. Though there's characters in Twisted Wonderland I don't like. I'm not going to say their name, but if my friend Shan's watching, she knows. She knows, and it's one of her favorite characters, and she got me into the game, and I am just so thankful that she did. I am unsure of what to say, because Twisted Wonderland didn't change my life the same way that Haikyuu did, but I play this game every single day. I love these characters. I love seeing other people share their love for these characters because each character, I don't know how many characters there are, I feel like there's just something very special and fun and engaging about this series. And I don't know if it's just because I have friends who deeply love it and able to share my love with them and how much we care about these characters and how we analyze things and talk about things and they point out things and I'm always looking up like fan art. I just love it so much. And I feel like I'm floundering here on what exactly it is. And I guess it ultimately just comes down to the characters and how I've seen parts of myself in them, how they have made my day better, made me smile, made me feel joy, and just encouraged me on days that I was just like, oh, you know, this is a really hard, like today I'm filming this video. It has been a very hard day. And I'm just like, this is a hot mess. And, you know, I came home and I did some things I had to do. And then I went and played some Twisted Wonderland. And I was like, just hearing their voices, looking at them smile, looking at them throw shade, or Cases here with Riddle going crazy. I mean, all of it just makes my day better. It just makes my day better. I think that's what it comes down to for me, is I feel like my life is better with them in it. And I'm thankful for this fictional story. And the art is beautiful. Now, the artist here specifically is not the same artist as Black Butler, but the creator of Black Butler is also the creator of Twisted Wonderland, and she writes and does the character designs of the main event of the story. So if her art looks similar, this artist that did the art for the series, that is why. Like she did these, she did You, which I really enjoyed, and I think it's one really fun thing. I have seen many spoilers because I will say that this is one series that I, for the most part, actively look at spoilers every time there's a new update in Japan. And I lost my train of thought because I was thinking about things, because right now, if you do follow Twisted Wonderland, they're talking about the upcoming event in Japan that's going to be based off of The Nightmare Before Christmas. We just got like some images of Jack and it looks really cool. It looks really amazing. So it's just a fun, wonderful series. And yeah, I lost my train of thought ultimately. I do apologize for it. It's like, what was I saying? I don't know. I started thinking about things, and as you can see, yeah, it just makes my life better. And I'm really thankful. I need to reread this manga because the anthology was so much fun. I had a great time reading it, and this series was very good. If you've read the game, or if you've played the game, I should say, the manga only adds layers and depths to it. I do have a first impression of this volume specifically. I have done like an unboxing, an open of the French edition of this that came with a special little mini art book, which I loved. I have the art book that's coming out in October on pre-order, and I'm very, very excited. I was not a huge fan of the novels. I did share my August reading wrap up, but that does not like affect my love or enjoyment of this series and these characters. And while we're here, because I have him on my computer and I have my light on because of it, this is Ortho right here, and I just wanted to show him because I love this pen. His design here specifically is one of my all-time favorites. I really feel like this character, Ortho, if he was real, we would be best buddies in real life because I just love him. And then meanwhile, his brother is like my favorite character. We would probably not be best friends because he's very gloomy, but he's very relatable and throws a lot of shade. But I love his character so much. So I'm like, Ortho, please help us to be best friends. So yes, even if I didn't do a good job, I really love Twisted Wonderland so very much. And it's easily in my top 5 favorites. Like when I thought of this series, when I thought of this prompt, it was literally Haikyuu, Kaijimmer 8, and Twisted Wonderland. Like, boom. That is what it was. For number 5, I have not reread this series in a while, but this is one of the cutest rom-coms I have ever read. So wholesome, so precious, and that is Miss Miyazin Would Love to Get Closer to You. This memory brings back this manga, excuse me, brings back fond memories for me because I first heard about this series from Shay Geeks Out. She talked about how much she loved it. I picked it up, and it was funny because my husband read it first, and then I read it, and then with the next 3 volumes, it's only a 4-volume series, we sort of fought for who got to read it first because we both have loved this series so much. It is just so adorable and sort of a delinquent manga, not really like our guy here. He is sort of an ex-delinquent, ex-former troublemaker, while Miyazin here is prim and proper, so to speak. He feels like she's sort of like a princess outside of his world. He can never be around her, but he thinks she's cool. And she feels similarly about him, but she feels like maybe she's out of her element, and they just just have the most awkwardest and cutest moments in this series where they're just trying to get closer to each other. And I think it's, you know, some of the series that are like this, like The Girl I Like Forgot My Glasses is the first one that, or The Girl I Liked Forgot Her Glasses, that comes to mind, where it could quickly get repetitive and starts to get boring. It's like, okay, this is the same gag over and over. I didn't feel this way at all with Miss Miyazin. Yes, you do have that running gag there a little bit, but you can genuinely see that the progress and that they are actually getting closer. And it doesn't take like 15 volumes for them to actually get closer. They are quite close by the end of volume 3 at the least, without saying any kind of spoilers or anything. But it is probably one of my favorite rom-coms. And I was rereading this, I think it was yesterday or this morning, and I was like, oh, my heart feels revived. It's just so cute and adorable and so very precious. I definitely need to read from start to finish because it's just a very fun, sweet series that just makes you smile. I don't remember there being any kind of fan service in here. I remember the friends being great and really pushing our leads together because they just were awkward little beans and they question if, like, is the other person understanding what I'm trying to do? Because a great example is, like, she tries to watch Yakuza movies so that she can talk with him. And he's like, oh, that looks like it's from the Yakuza movies. Like, surely not. Surely she doesn't watch that kind of thing. When yes, she does, because she wants to get closer to him. It, again, is so very cute. And definitely think if you're looking for a short rom-com, that this is an excellent one to check out, especially if you want something sweet and uplifting and very wholesome. It's just so, so adorable. And that, my friends, wraps up my top 5 picks. I was going to feature another one, but Maeve's actually the one that introduced it to me, and I'm curious if she's going to feature it in her top 5. If I guess she doesn't feature it, I'll do like a community post and say what the other one is. And again, be sure to go check out Maeve's picks and see what she did. I don't think she struggled as much as I did because I think she had a lot more variety, and I'm very curious to see what she chose. But I would love to hear from you, friends. What are some of your favorite shonen manga? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!